55 West.
Bitch ass nigga.
Yo, stop moving, bro. Fuck damn.
You know who this is? This is TikTok.
Six.
Can you stop so I can count? I can't concentrate.
10, 20, I'm smart, bro. Stop fucking with me, bro.
And a 3-year-old.
March 21st, 2023. What began as a routine call for a verbal disturbance at an apartment lobby quickly escalated into a high-stakes tactical encounter. As the officer enters the perimeter of 55 West, the atmosphere is thick with tension. He immediately detects a pungent, unmistakable odor of trees, a common street slang for marijuana. Notice the suspect's immediate fight-or-flight response. His eyes dart towards the exit, muscles tensing as he attempts to create distance. This is a classic case of pre-arrest indicators. The officer's training kicks in, recognizing the subject's heavy breathing and erratic movements as he attempts to blend into the lobby before making a break for it. The chase is short but high intensity. Once intercepted, the officer initiates a Terry frisk, a constitutional right under the Fourth Amendment to search for weapons for officer safety. The subject, later identified as a local individual known from viral social media clips, immediately utilizes verbal noncompliance as a distraction technique. He oscillates between aggression and humor, a common psychological defense mechanism designed to seize control of the interaction. The officer maintains a tactical stance, keeping his hand near his utility belt while another unit arrives to provide overwatch. Listen closely to the suspect's bravado. It's an attempt to mask the adrenaline spike from the brief pursuit. The dynamic changes when the suspect recognizes the officer from a previous viral video on TikTok. This parasocial interaction creates a strange moment of levity in a high-stress environment. However, the officer remains focused on the mission. He donned his gloves, a procedural step indicating an imminent, thorough search of the person. Under the plain smell doctrine, the odor of narcotics provides the probable cause needed to proceed. Notice how the officer systematically checks the suspect's pockets, ensuring no zeros slang for weapons or dangerous items are present. The suspect continues to banter about his hairline, a classic deflection tactic used to humanize himself and lower the officer's guard during the discovery of evidence. Precision is key during the evidence recovery phase. The officer locates a suspicious blue pill, potentially a synthetic narcotic, and a significant amount of various currency. In Leo procedures, large sums of cash paired with suspected narcotics often point toward intent to distribute. The suspect's demeanor shifts slightly toward irritation as the officer begins a meticulous count of the money. "Can you stop so I can concentrate?" the officer asks, maintaining professional boundaries. Each bill counted $100, $200, $900 adds weight to the potential charges. The suspect's claim of Instacarting is a common alibi, but the physical evidence found on his person tells a much more complex story of illicit activity. As the suspect is escorted to the patrol vehicle, the officer notes a volatile movement during the seating process. Officers are trained to watch for suspects trying to conceal contraband or weapons inside the seat cushions, a common tactic known as stuffing. Now comes the critical legal threshold, the Miranda warning. "In order for me to talk to you, I got to read you your rights," the officer states. This is a mandatory procedure under the 1966 Supreme Court ruling to ensure any statements made during custodial interrogation are admissible in court. The suspect begins a game of legal cat and mouse, questioning the necessity of the rights and claiming he was threatened during the initial foot pursuit. The officer patiently navigates the suspect's circular logic. "Do you understand these rights?" The requirement for a verbal yes or no is not just a formality. It's a legal safeguard. The suspect attempts to redefine the officer's commands as threats, claiming that being told "don't make it hard" caused him fear. In the eyes of the law, a lawful command to stop is not a threat of violence, but a standard LEO directive. This psychological tug of war highlights the subject's attempt to build a narrative for future litigation. Despite the pushback, the officer secures a verbal confirmation, allowing the dialogue to continue within the bounds of the law. The final phase of the encounter is a masterclass in interrogation techniques. The officer attempts to establish rapport while probing for information about the bricks and the origin of the suspect's clothing. The suspect's defiance reaches a peak when he provides a fictitious website address, fuckyou.com, as the source of his hoodie. This defiant non-compliance is coupled with a deep-seated claim of fear of the police. He describes shaking in his sleep, a powerful emotional appeal designed to evoke sympathy. However, the officer brings the focus back to the physical facts. "If you knew I was police, why did you run?" The subject's inability to reconcile his fear with his actions leaves a vacuum in his defense. The encounter concludes with the suspect being processed, a routine day for law enforcement, but a viral moment for the digital world. The officer's calm professionalism stands in stark contrast to the suspect's volatile and theatrical behavior.